Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bobbie and this is Bobbie Reads Tarot, and I most definitely was not planning on doing a reading today. However, Joe Biden just announced, today is Sunday, July 21st. Joe Biden just announced that he is no longer running for re-election, and he endorses Vice President Kamala Harris. But now there's this kind of uncertainty right now running through the Democratic Party because there's a lot that's unknown. And there is the Democratic National Convention coming up in Chicago on August 5th. And I think that is when we are going to get a lot of the answers as to who is going to be running as the president and who the vice president pick will be. I did have a reading before where I did channel that it looked like it was going to be a Kamala and Gavin Newsom ticket, but we'll see what that's looking like now. We'll see if that looks the same or if it looks like it's changing. So we are just going to go ahead and do a reading on how this is all going to work out, what's going to end up happening with the Democratic Party for this 2024 presidential election. I don't know. Hold on. That didn't feel right. Let's redo that. 1 minute. So one more good shuffle. There we go. Okay, now we're going to cut it. Perfect. Okay, so let's see what we have going on here. We have the Fool reversed. Interesting. And the Six of Pentacles reversed. We have the King of Pentacles reversed. That has been coming up a lot in these readings lately. We have Judgment reversed. We have the Nine of Cups reversed. And we have the Knight of Wands reversed. Then we have the Three of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Emperor, and the Queen of Swords reversed. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig right in. And we're going to be looking at a lot of different decks here and a lot of different cards. So the first thing we're starting off with is this Fool, the Fool reversed, and the Six of Pentacles. So when we have the Fool reversed, this is a feeling of being foolish, perhaps being vain. It can be indiscretion. It can be not focused or paying attention to what is going on. Taking these bold steps into the void and not knowing what's on the other side of that step. This is being crossed by the Six of Pentacles reversed. Six of Pentacles reversed talks about an inability to hold on to money. So there's definitely going to be money issues and money concerns surrounding this campaign. And I do feel like a lot of it has to do with the funds that have already been raised through the fundraising efforts. I think that there might be some questions as to whether those funds can be used for any replacement nominee, or if it has to be Kamala, or if it was only for Biden-Harris. I know that there's a lot of questions about that. And so I do think that that's going to be sort of central to the decision that is made by the Democratic Party. This King of Pentacles reversed, this is very much JB. So yeah, we know who that is. So I'm going to start going into acronyms and stuff just so this video doesn't get flagged. So we have this King of Pentacles reversed, and he was losing steam. He was, he was lethargic. It was this like slowing down, this lack of energy. On top of that, it was also this like desperate need to hold on to the to the nomination, or to that, running again, the re-election. It was from this place of not really trusting anyone else to do the job, and he just couldn't see he just couldn't see anyone else being able to do the job he felt like only he could fix, you know? And I think that he was supposed to be transitional. And it's interesting that he's working out to be transitional. Um, but it's coming off of this energy. This energy is what's impacting this. And obviously that makes sense. I mean, we know who that is and how that's impacting what's going on. What the party is looking into towards the future is they're looking into some kind of misunderstanding, misinterpretation, misreckoning. But in one of my previous readings, I thought that there was going to be someone who looked like they were going to be a good contender, but then it didn't work out, and it was like a money situation. And I'm wondering if that is part of what we're seeing again. It seems really weird, and there was like nothing that's happening, you know, that we're seeing that gives me that indication. It's just a very weird download or feeling that I'm getting about this election. But I do feel whatever move happens, there's a miscalculation. Something is not being considered. There is a miscalculation. Something is going to be like, they're going to think that they're getting the best shot, or they're going with like the best option, but they're miscalculating what they're doing. There's real concern over VPKH because there's this perception that she is coming from a place of being, you know, more self-serving and not really having the best interests of other people at heart, but really what's best for her. Now, this isn't how she feels, okay, or what she's doing. This is how it's being interpreted. Okay, so I want to make that distinction here because I don't feel like this is actually what she's doing. I feel like the energy that I'm getting from her is that she is, I feel like she could do the job, and I feel like she could do the job well, but I think she's really struggling with almost like imposter syndrome, which like everyone faces, but it's that self-doubt inside of herself that like I think there's some reservation or some fear there. So I think she's battling with those internal feelings. Meanwhile, she's portrayed as something very different. And I think if she is even if she's not the nominee, which I really feel like she's going to be the nominee. I really, really do. But even if she's not the nominee, they're going to start now, other, you know, political parties, they're going to start now attacking her in this way. And they're going to start giving these ideas that she's like emotionally unstable, that she's greedy, that she overspends, that she's, you know, very like self-centered and egotistical. They're going to find whatever they're going to attack her with, it's going to be based around those ideas. That's how they're going to come for her. And then we have this Knight of Wands reversed. Again, this Knight of Wands reversed is this feeling of hesitation or being insecure. And it's also a card of miscommunication. So I just feel like there is going to be so much miscommunication within the party itself, as well as with the party and then speaking to the public. I think we're going to see a lot of interesting things where news is going to break, but then it's not going to perhaps be accurate. So I feel like it might be, okay, this is the nominee. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. No, that actually wasn't official yet. You know, wait. Like, I think like false starts. I think that there's going to be stuff that's like leaked or stuff that isn't supposed to come out yet, and people are going to announce it and then they're going to try to pull it back. And I feel like there's going to be very weird communication issues within this election period within the DNC. They're trying to put out this campaign of like validating the process that they're about to undertake. They're going to really try to give it validity as to how they're going to determine who the replacement nominee is. I think it's going to involve a lot of moving parts. I do think that the virtual conference or convention that they were going to have, I do feel like that's going to be actually held in person, because with the Three of Wands, this can indicate traveling. So I do feel like they're going to travel and meet up for these like activities that they're going to hold at the convention. And that's where they're going to determine who their candidate is. And they're going to really try to validate that decision. Okay. And I think they might actually have a difficult time validating that decision. Next, we have the Two of Wands reversed, and this is all about rushing. They're out of time. This is about doing things so fast. Everyone is impatient. Everyone is acting in haste, and that is why we are going to have so many miscommunications and weird like information leaks and pullbacks and stories changing. I think that it's just this, everyone is rushing and no one is stopping and really taking in what needs to happen. The hope and desire of the DNC is to find the right person to take on the role of president of the United States. That is what their goal is. So I do feel like their search for the right candidate, I do feel like they have good intentions, which is very weird because I don't think very often the intentions are ever really good. But I do think they're looking for someone who's like the best possible candidate. And I do think there's going to be this struggle because their idea of what it should be is this emperor, right? And what's an emperor? It's masculine energy, it's male. And I think one of the big arguments that is going to happen with it behind closed doors at the DNC is going to be, is the US ready to have a female president? I think that's going to be the biggest issue, is the fact that she is a woman and not a man. Then we have this Queen of Swords reversed. This is an interesting one. This one, I'm having a hard time kind of interpreting what this means as far as a resolution. With it being the Queen of Swords, it makes me think, okay, well, maybe she would win. Maybe she will win the election, but I see it not being great. I see like bad behavior, or I don't know. Because she's not coming out upright. She's coming out reversed. This could also mean her not being successful, her losing to DJT. So let's go ahead and get some, let's pull some additional cards and just kind of get a feel for, what's going on. So let's see here. How do we want to do this? I am going to go ahead and move these to the side here. And I want to pull, let's do 4 cards from both this deck and this deck here. So we're going to probably do some separate shuffling. But I want to know what is going on right now, Sunday, July 21st but actually, I want to know what led up to Biden deciding to release this letter that discusses his withdrawal from the race. What were the events that led up to his withdrawal from the race? Okay, so I want 2 cards from this pile. Okay. So first we have curse, and then we have rope. So I do feel like he felt like he had no other choice. Like he was being controlled by outside people. This was something he had to do. With the rope, his hands were tied. He didn't have any other choice. This was not something that he wanted to do, but it was something that he was forced to do. Okay. And let's get 2 more cards here to build this out a little bit more. Okay. So we have red flag and we have debt. So I'm feeling like he owed somebody something, or he felt like he owed somebody something, or he was like there was a favor that someone had done for him, or there was something that involves that party. And they basically said, like, remember how we had that, that one thing we could call in? We're calling it in. And so his hands were tied. He had no other choice. And he sees red flags because this is how he was feeling. So he did not want to make this choice. He does not feel like this is what's in the best interest of the country. I don't feel like he did this on his own. He was very much forced to do this. So now let's look at, I want to look at the energy that he is feeling right now. So the announcement has been made. It is 1:13 in the afternoon Pacific time. That was a terrible shuffle. So it's 1:13 p.m. Pacific time, the day, Sunday, July 21st. So how is he and his family feeling right now about the announcement that was made? Okay, so I want 3 cards from this deck. 1, 2, 3. And I would like 1 card from this deck. One card, please. Okay, let's see what we have here. Flight, air travel, cover up, propaganda, fake news, directed energy weapon. Okay. So he's probably going to be traveling from somewhere to somewhere else. I believe that he's currently in Delaware recovering from a certain illness that we shall not mention, but we all know what it is. So he will be traveling soon, very soon, probably back to the White House. They very much believe this is a cover up. They're covering up what the DNC made him do. This is all a lot of propaganda. So I think we're seeing a lot of the things come out with the other leaders in that party, where they're coming out and saying, that he's a patriot for stepping down and he's accomplished so much. And they're really singing his praises, but behind closed doors, they weren't singing his praises. They weren't being that kind. But they're wanting to put forth this, image of everything being okay within the party. And this is they're doing this for a specific reason. They're telling the story how they need to tell the story in order to get people in the public to just kind of believe what's going on. So they're using all kinds of propaganda, all kinds of different stories, the media, to really direct the energy of this election, this election thing. They're really wanting to show this this unity in the party, so that anyone who would have voted for JB will just hand their vote over to the new nominee. I think that's really what they're banking on, that's what's going to happen. So now what I want to see is what happens within the party between now and the convention that's going to be held on August 5th. So what things can we expect to see happen between now and August 5th? And we're going to do, let's see here. We're going to pull 6 cards. We're going to pull 6 cards for this. We're going to do 2. Actually, we're going to pull 8 cards for this one. So this is what is going to happen within the party between now and when the convention happens on August 5th, 2024. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Scoot these off to the side here. What is going to happen between now and the convention in Chicago? One, two, three, four. Okay, so let's see what we have going on. Oh my God. Okay. Well then. So there's obviously going to be some kind of interference with the election process. There's very much going to be this idea of trying to pull people in with this idea that everything is going great in the party. Everything right now is going really, really well. We're bringing you in with our stories of how amazing the party is. It is all incredibly high vibe over here. It's a celebration. It's a party. I think this is also going to be the energy leading up to the actual event itself. So they're going to try to present this real party atmosphere where everyone's on the same page and everyone's celebrating because there's so much to celebrate because they have like such an amazing candidate, right? I do think that there is going to be a lot around the microchip thing. So for those of you who don't know, JB, I don't know the details around it, but basically a lot of the majority of the processing for certain microchips was always done. Well, they originally done in the US, I guess, but then it was shipped out to overseas. Well, he negotiated to have one of these machines brought back to the US to begin actually making these here within the US. And it's been a really fantastic thing that he's done. So I think that this is something that is really going to be highlighted on the campaign trail. And I think that I think whoever the nominee is going to be, I think the party as a whole is really going to tout the success of this program. I do think we're going to see some really tough times though. And, you know, I'm not an astrologer, okay? But I have recently started, you know, paying attention to some astrologers. And I was never really like, I mean, I knew that there was something to it, but I didn't like base my life on astrology. But some of the things that these astrologers lately have been predicting things, like they've predicted the attempt on DJT's life prior to it happening. So what a lot of them, so there's, I mean, it wasn't just one, it was a lot. So there are, specifically within the Vedic astrology. Okay, so there's the tropical astrology, and then there's the Vedic. So this is more Vedic, but even tropical is predicting these things. So it's going to be a time of unrest between July and August within the US. It's something that's just, it's being predicted astrologically. So I do think we are going to see the beginning of riots and protests. I don't even think it's going to be the beginning. I think it's going to be the building up of, because we're already seeing it right now. And this could be an exacerbation of what's going on with in Gaza. This can be people that are protesting for Palestine. These could be people who are rioting or protesting that are, you know, perhaps they really like one candidate or the other. So we might see some acting out. But I do think that we're going to see a heightened increase in these types of activities through this time period. And then we have this stranger, and I'm not quite sure what this stranger is referring to. So let's go ahead and get, I want to get 3 cards for the stranger here. Okay, so this is something else that has been predicted, and it's showing up here. This has been predicted by both tarot card readers and astrologers, but there's this thing that keeps coming up with water. Okay, so this, and when I saw this vacation beach abroad, my first thought was water. I wonder if that's representing water, and then I got the water card, so I was like, okay, yeah, it is exactly talking about water. So there have been some concerns over something that could be done to the water, to our water source. And I know this sounds like complete tinfoil hat, territory, but please listen to me, okay? Um, Make sure that you are just always prepared for an emergency. And this isn't to be like fear mongering or anything like that. This is because at any time in our lives, we could experience an emergency. We could experience, depending on where you are, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, forest fires. It doesn't matter where you live, there's always something that could potentially cause an emergency. So it's always a good idea to have plenty of water on hand and to have some emergency supplies just in case, like little things like flashlights around your house by all the beds, things like that. So I would really encourage you, please, to make sure that you have a source or a store of water in case something happens. Because with this stranger and water, I feel like there's going to be communication, that there is an issue with the water. And I don't think it's not going to be good. So please be careful with water. Okay. So this was the energy that was between now and the convention. Now I want to see what we can actually expect at the convention itself. So the first thing I want to do is just pull out a few tarot cards to kind of get the vibe. So the first thing I see on the bottom of the deck is the Tower cards. So that's always a fun time. Let's see what we can get. This is going to be what happens at the DNC, what is announced, who are the nominees, what can we expect? Okay. So there's going to be disappointment going into it. There's an offer that doesn't materialize. Again, I feel like there's someone they really want as the replacement nominee, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Or there's someone they really want for if KH ends up being the replacement nominee, then there's something with her VP. There's someone they really want and they can't get. But there's going to be some disappointment. Amongst, I don't know, there's some people in the party, there's going to be disappointment. This 10 of Cups reversed talks about discord. So there's going to be a discord after or at the culmination. There's going to be people that are not happy with the choices that are made and the nominations, the people that are selected. And it's going to kind of create a divide amongst the party. And I'm wondering if that's actually going to affect the results, if that's going to help one of the other candidates. Then we have this 3 of Wands reversed, and this is all about being careless and making mistakes and having communication issues and having setbacks. I don't see this being a good event and them making headway or unity within the party, which is just, it's so disappointing. Like, why? Okay, so let's expand on this now and see what else there is. What else can we get here? What can we expect to come out of the DNC on August 5th in Chicago? I really do feel like it's going to be in person. I don't feel like it's going to be a virtual event. I am getting that. I was going to say it, and then I didn't say it, and then I got goosebumps, which is my sign to say it, so I'm saying it. Let's see. Evil, demonic, thief. I wonder if some people are going to feel like the nomination was stolen, that someone took it. There's a lot of things that go on in politics that are really terrible. Most things that go on in politics are really terrible because, you know, we have been brought up here in the US at least to believe that we have this democratic system, right? And that it works for the people. We have this justice system. We have this fair election system, and that everything is fair and just. But the reality is that that's not true. There are people who control everything. And they are the people who, at the start of at the creation of the United States, the forefathers, there were some that got into a lot of really, really good investments. And those investments were in oil, energy, railways, and banking. And those families to this day still retain their wealth. And again, tinfoil hat territory, but these are the people who fund all of the lobbying to get the politicians to vote the way that they want them to vote. The people pulling the strings are not, in fact, our politicians, but they are this group of people. And they kind of run the show. And it's really scary. You know, I was watching the news and there was one of the really large donors, political donors for this particular party. And he was mentioning holding back $90,000 or $90 million, excuse me, in campaign funding or donations. And he was holding that back until JB dropped out of the race. And they were asking him, the pundits on this show were asking him, you know, well, what's the process going to be? Is it just going to go to KH or what's going to happen? And he very matter-of-factly said, no, what's going to happen is a group of us are going to get together and we will determine who the best candidate is. And they would let people throw their hat in the ring, but ultimately they would kind of determine who the the nominee was going to be. And that struck me because the way that he said that, and it's like, it's just confirmation that it really has nothing to do with primaries or who the people want. It has to do with who people are selecting from the top. Those people are really bad people. And I've always been an incredibly positive person as when I get things through, when I like mediumship, when I'm picking up energies, I never pick up like negative energy because I'm always in this like positive mind space. But I can tell you, as I've spent more and more time doing readings on the government, the more I see these very scary and dark cards on both sides. This is not specific to one side. Okay. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of competition. There's going to be a lot of rivals. Someone is going to feel as if the nomination was stolen from them or taken, or they didn't have any choice. And I'm wondering if we're going to see additional attempts. If we're going to start to see increased actions of violence. Also, I think that there is secret trips, secret meetings between people. I feel like behind the scenes, things are already being decided prior to the convention. There are people, again, these people that are wanting to do this, these people, they're getting everything lined up right now. They're figuring out, okay, what's our best strategy and how are we going to do that? And I'm wondering if perhaps this group wasn't, and again, this is all alleged. None of this is, fact. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. Um, all the warnings. But I'm wondering if this party isn't behind what we just saw happen a week ago with DJT. So I do think that there's going to be some really yucky stuff happening behind the scenes. A lot of secrecy, a lot of competition. I think we're about to see things get very, very dark in regards to the climate, the political climate. Okay. So we have, again, curse, exposed, ancient mystery. So I do think that this does go back this goes back so much farther than we even realize. We think like this is just US politics and history, but this goes back to the beginning of times. This really, the rule of law and the way that people spread out and colonized, it all ties back to the one source in which we came from. So this is so much bigger than just this elections that we're seeing right now. I do feel like there are things that are going to come to light that we never expected and things that are going to be shocking. I think that some of those ancient things that have been hidden for so long, and I don't know if this is to do with like, other intelligence out there, or if this is to do with, I don't know, but I think that things are going to start being exposed. And I think that one of the things that's also going to be exposed is the control that they have had over the party and people. And I don't just mean the leadership of this party. I'm talking about people above that. I think that some of that is going to slowly start coming to light. We have false accusations, and we again have riots and protests. So we might see riots and protests continuing or even escalating at the time of the DNC. And we're going to see a lot of false accusations being made. And this is going to just increase. I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of the things that are told to people are false. So I would be very mindful and very careful of where you're getting your information, okay? Because everybody has an agenda. So you want to be sure that you're looking at a lot of different sources and sources that don't have a bias, if you can find those. Okay, so the next question I have is about the election itself. There has been a lot of talk about the election either being postponed or not taking place at all. So I want to look into that energy. So let's see here. Let's look at, we're going to pull 3 tarot cards and then we'll build on it, okay? So this is about, will the election occur in November? Or will it not happen? What are we looking at as far as election in November? We have that Fool reversed again. We have Judgment reversed again. And we have the 3 of Swords reversed. This is foolishness. This is poor choices. This is not planning ahead. This is not paying attention. This is misinterpretation, a misreckoning. And then with this 3 of Wands reversed, this is setbacks. And this is arguments. It's heartbreak. It's grief. There's a need for reconciliation. So looking at this, no, it doesn't look, which is crazy to me to think about. It sounds so crazy for me to say that, because in my 45 years, I would never anticipate that there wouldn't be a November election. And it's hard for me to imagine a circumstance where it doesn't happen, but I don't know. It keeps coming up. And looking at these cards, it looks to me like they're going to make mistakes. They're going to have miscommunications and they're not going to be able to pull it off on time. Something's going to happen. There's going to be some kind of a debate going on, and there's going to be a lot of people under like tremendous grief. And this is going to be like nationwide. There's something big that's going to prevent this from happening. Okay, we have school. We have a red flag. Let's see what else we can get. School can be about needing to learn something. Lies. So yes, we're right about this. We're on the right track. It's not going to take place. There's going to be lies. We're going to be told lies, and those lies are going to be why the election is delayed. The reason that they're going to give for delaying the election is going to be based on lies. It's something that's not even true. That sad emotional is, it's that same feeling of that Three of Swords reverse. We're going to take both of those cards. It's things not going great for people. They're going to get caught. The story is going to come out that this wasn't true. But I think we are looking into some rough times, and this isn't to scare people, okay? And I'm not like a fear monger person, and it's actually really hard for me to like post these kinds of videos because I don't want to be someone that's like spreading doom and gloom. But I also want people to have the information and then to do with it what they want. And what I'm seeing in these cards is we are looking at some type of a military operation happening in the US that is going to prevent the election from happening on time. It's going to be a very rough time for people. As far as like the citizens, there's going to be a lot of I'm wondering if it's going to happen near the start of going back to school. This can be learning a lesson, but this can also be utilized as a time indicator. So this could be around back to school time when this happens, or when we start to see the red flags. That's when the lies are going to begin. And people are going to get caught in their lies, but it's going to be too late because we're already going to have gotten involved in this military operation. I'm almost wondering if it's like a martial law situation, which again sounds like tinfoil hat territory, but I don't know. It's just what's coming through. Okay, let's see what other messages we can get. So we have exposed, paper trail. Yes. So we're going to know what's happened. That's not going to fix it, but we are going to know what's going on. There has been talk about issues with the economic system and there being issues with it, and also issues with the value of the US dollar and overproduction of money. I'm wondering if that's going to come to fruition too. Like if there's going to be some exposure over what's been going on with the financial institutions, specifically like where the mint comes from, or wherever they like make money, and that whole group. I think that's all going to come crashing down. And then we have this warning: environmental hazard. Be careful, please. Make sure you have lots of water, because I do feel like water is going to be something that's really important. And then we keep getting these like really scary evil cards, and I hate this. It's just it's the worst. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this reading right here because we're getting super long, longer than I planned. Let me know what you guys think about this. What are your thoughts? What are your instincts? What's your gut telling you is going to happen? Yeah, I'd be really curious to know. Please be kind to one another in the comment section down below. This is not a place to argue about politics, but rather just to look at the issues themselves. So please, share, contribute. Let's have a conversation, but let's do it with kindness and respect, okay? Um, if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up on your way out. And also, if you have not yet subscribed, now would be a great time for you to click that little subscribe button. Also, on my website, I do offer personal readings, so if you're interested in that, you can find all of that information in the description down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and flipping cards, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.